Good afternoon, everyone. Our next and last session of the day is about to begin. And our session is the breath, our innate remedy for stress management. And this will be led by Lalita Balur. Hi, Lalita.
Hi, Joan. Lovely to be here. Nice to see all of you. Thank you so much for this invitation to share, some information about the breath. I'm very glad to be here, and I'm sure that, you all probably have some Zoom fatigue after a long day spent in front of the screen. So I hope this session is of benefit to you. So a little introduction about myself. I'm a scientist and I'm a researcher 6, research faculty in genetic cell biology and development. I work on gene therapy for rare diseases, especially lysosomal storage diseases, which involve the brain. So I'll talk to you today about the breath, our innate remedy for stress management. And we'll talk a little bit about the breath and the mind, and then I'll segue into an introduction to the Sky Campus Happiness Program, which is a breathwork program offered by the Wellbeing Program at the U. And I'm teaching a course coming up in September and October. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Great. All right, so some of this will be interactive, so feel free to chime in with answers. You can unmute yourself and share, or you can just pop it in the chat. And Joan, if you wouldn't mind reading the responses in case I missed them, that'd be great. All right, so look at this scene, and if you could share what thoughts or feelings or emotions come up when you look at the screen. Would anyone like to share? And just as an aside, for this whole presentation, there are no wrong answers. It's your perception and it's all correct. So any feelings or thoughts that come up when you see this visual? Anyone? All right. I think it conjures up images of warmth and beauty and vacation. So imagine that you're in this beautiful location with your partner or a good friend, and you've had a wonderful meal and you've had an amazing day and you're relaxing and all is well with your world. Things are great. And then you get into an argument with your partner or your friend. And this argument escalates. And it escalates and it escalates until the beauty of the surrounding is completely lost on you. So you might be in a parking lot close to your home, or you might be in a home. It doesn't matter where you are. This beautiful scene is completely lost on you. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Now, look at this scene, and then if anyone wants, they can unmute themselves and say what thoughts or feelings come up when you see a picture of this traffic jam, something we haven't seen too much in the last year and a half, but it's slowly coming back. And I see, I think we've all been stuck in these traffic jams, and the feeling that usually comes up is frustration. Frustration, oh my God, I should have left earlier. You have an important meeting to go to at work. You may have to go to a piano recital that your child is giving. So you're getting frustrated and the frustration is mounting. It's not even stop and go traffic, it's stop traffic. So you decide, okay, I'm going to take out my cell phone and I'm going to check my email. And so you take out your cell phone and check your email, and you see that you have a message that says, congratulations, we would love to offer you this job. So you've applied for this job, which is your dream job, and you've been hoping and hoping you get it, and now you get it. And your thrill and your joy and excitement just goes through the roof. You're so happy. Does it matter now that you're stuck in this nauseous traffic jam? It really doesn't. So two situations, one beautiful, turning into frustrating, one frustrating turning into happiness. And so the lesson from these two visuals is the state of our mind dictates the quality of our life. So it doesn't matter where you are in the most frustrating or the most beautiful circumstances and environment, the state of our mind determines our happiness. So learning to cultivate the mind is really key to our happiness. And how do we cultivate the mind? You know, we've had 16 years of school and we've gone to college and we've gotten masters and doctorates and advanced degrees. So we've learned a lot of stuff. But along this way, no one's really taught us how to handle our mind. You know, how do we deal with these thoughts that constantly crop up? So that's the $1 million question. How do we handle the mind? So if anyone's noticed how thoughts bounce around, you know, all day long, our mind tends to boing, you know, it's like a monkey mind. It tends to usually vacillate between the past or the future. So when we think of the past, you know, what thoughts come up when we think of the past? Again, if anyone wants to share, please do so. But usually when we think of the past, you know, thoughts of regret, sadness, sometimes nostalgia. Oh my gosh, it was so great. When I was in my 20s, I had no responsibilities. Now look at me, I'm bogged down, you know? So sadness, regret, sometimes anger, nostalgia, all of these thoughts come up when we think of the past. And when we think of the future, sometimes there's excitement and anticipation, but a good chunk of the time it's worry. You know, it's anxiety and worry about what's going to happen with X, Y, or Z. And so the mind constantly dwells between the past and the future. It likes to hang out in these two phases, the past and the future. But this vacillation causes tremendous stress in our system. You know, it's like a pendulum, how a pendulum constantly swings left, right, left, right. Imagine if our body moved like a pendulum from side to side all day long. We'd be exhausted. And that's exactly what the mind does. Past, future, back and forth, back and forth. So this causes a lot of stress. And so I came across this article that was published in Science about 10 years ago. And the title is A Wandering Mind is an Unhappy Mind. And it's this really cool set of experiments using a web app. It was 10 years ago that was developed for Apple. And so thousands of people participated and then they recorded their thoughts. Where does their mind go during the day? You know, and the study concluded that a human mind is a wandering mind and a wandering mind is an unhappy mind. The ability to think about what is not happening is a cognitive achievement that comes at an emotional cost. So again, it talks about past, future, you know, life doesn't happen in the past and the future. It happens in the present moment. If only we could be in the present moment, we could tap into the happiness that comes with being in the here and the now. But that is the $1 million question, you know, how to be in the present moment. You can tell your mind all you want. Okay, you know, you're daydreaming about this vacation in Hawaii that you had been to, or that you will go to. But you say, okay, I have to come back to the present moment. And the mind comes back to the present moment, maybe just for a few moments. And then it's off again. Of course, there's a few exceptions, but for the most part, the mind goes back to the past or the future. So there's a very useful technique or a very useful tool that we could use to bring ourselves to the present moment. And the answer is the breath. So the breath, you can, I like this analogy. The mind is like a kite. It's like a kite. The mind is like a kite on a windy day. You know, it blows all over the place. And the breath is like the string of the kite that you can use to control the kite. So it's an often overlooked tool. We have it with us all the time. We are never without the breath. And it's such a useful tool, but most of us just don't tap into it. So the breath is really key because it forms the connection between the body and the mind. It's the connective force between the body and the mind, and it also connects the mind and the emotions, and also body and emotions. We have so many emotions that flood our minds and bodies throughout the day, happiness, sadness, anger, loneliness, and so on. So has anyone noticed that every emotion that we feel has a corresponding breath pattern? All these emotions, if we think about it, and you can try this, later in the day, every emotion has a certain breath pattern. For example, happiness, we breathe in deep. The inhalation is long. I come home and I find my daughter is baking chocolate chip cookies, and I'm just in the mood for chocolate chip cookies, and I inhale in with happiness, and it feels so good. And then what about sadness? How do we breathe when we are sad? It's, you've had this really nasty breakup, and you can't stop thinking about the other person. And you go, the exhale is long. So in sadness, the exhalation is long, the happiness, the inhalation is long. And also anger, fear, they all have their own breath patterns. When we are scared, it's a scary movie, the breath is very rapid, it's shallow, it's uneven, it's staggered. Also laughing, sobbing, they have their own breath patterns. So every emotion has a breath pattern. What if we could change the breath pattern? Would that change our emotion? That's an intriguing question. And the answer is yes. That's what these scientists discovered. They did this big study in which the participants of the study were, asked to breathe in, they were given different things, shown different images that evoke different emotions, and their breath patterns were recorded. And then they were asked to breathe in certain patterns to see if they could reverse the emotions. And so many times we think that the emotion and the breath is a one-way street, but they found it's actually not. It's a two-way street. Every emotion has a breath pattern, but when you breathe in a certain pattern, you can reverse that emotion. So if you're sad, if you breathe in a certain way, you can reverse that sadness to happiness. Or if you're angry and frustrated, your kids are acting up, or your coworkers are annoying you, changing the breath can lead to a change in emotion. So that's such a useful tool. And this research article finds the same thing. And this was published 3 years ago in Journal of Neurophysiology. And what these scientists found that when we pay attention to our breath, several brain regions linked to emotion, attention, body awareness are activated. So this raises the possibility that particular breathing strategies may be used as a tool to help people manage their thoughts, moods, and experiences. So the breath is really key in managing our emotion. If you're interested in documentaries, this is an interesting one. It's called Free the Mind. Can you rewire the brain just by taking a breath? And it has, I think, 2 or 3 different techniques that are used to alter the mind using breathwork and meditation. And the Sky breathing is one of them. So it's an interesting documentary. It was on Netflix. It's not anymore, but I'm sure it can be found somewhere. So what I'd like to do here is to play a TED Talk, also illustrating the importance of breath. It's about 2 to 3 minutes.
Some of you may have stressful commutes. You may not like being in the car. It kind of raises that anxiety or sometimes anger for people. Jake was on probably one of the most stressful commutes that you can ever imagine. He was the Marine Corps officer in charge of the last vehicle on a convoy in Afghanistan. All the other cars had passed safely ahead of him. Yet his vehicle, unfortunately, drove over an IED, an improvised explosive device. There was a very large bang. When the dust had settled, he looked down and he saw that his legs were fractured below the knee. In that moment, he remembered a breathing technique that he had learned in a book called On Combat by Lieutenant Colonel Grossman for young officers. It shared a breathing technique whereby you breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, out for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, like a square breath. In that moment, he remembered it, and he started to breathe in this way. Thanks to that, he had the presence of mind to check in on his men, make sure they were all okay. He had the presence of mind to give orders to call for help. He had the presence of mind to tourniquet his own legs, to prop them up, and only then, when he had done his duty, when he had taken care of everything, he lay back. That's when he passed out. Later, he found out that had he not had that presence of mind, he would have fallen into a coma, or he would have bled to death. Jake attended my wedding. He's a friend. He's wearing prosthetics, and it hurts him a lot to stand. And yet, at my wedding, I saw him dance. If Jake can have the presence of mind thanks to the breath, so can we. It's one of the greatest secrets out there. And I really hope you take it home with you, because I really think it's an idea worth sharing. Thank you.
The power of breath. So what is the Sky Campus Happiness Program? So this program is it approaches well-being and happiness using a multi-pronged approach. You know, it takes emotional intelligence, inclusion, belonging, service, leadership, but the cornerstone of the program is the Sky Breathwork. And so this is taught in the context of the course, which is taught over 3 days, 3 hours a day. And this program is taught at 70 universities across the United States. It's taught as a workshop, as a 3-hour each for 3 days, as I'm doing here at the U. But it's also taught as a course for students in a handful of universities. This is Stanford, which offers the Sky breathing at their university. So Sky meditation techniques that utilizes the breath to quiet the mind, supporting a calm state of mind and a practical approach to happiness. So what is the Sky Breathwork? So the Sky is a cyclical rhythmic breathing technique that brings the mind and the body into a calm state using the breath. It's evidence-based. There's more than 100 publications on the benefits of this breathwork. It decreases anxiety, depression, and stress, decreases PTSD, increases resilience, and it increases well-being as well. And so this is a publication that came out from Harvard in July of last year. So improvements in well-being, cardiac metrics of stress, following a yogic breathing workshop, which is the Sky Campus Happiness Program. There was another article that came out from Yale also in July of last year. And this was a really, really good study, which was carried out in university students at Yale. And they divided the participants. I think actually there were more than 130 students. I think there were almost 200. They were divided into 4 groups. One group learned the Sky breath meditation. One group learned MBSR, which is the mindfulness technique, mindfulness-based stress reduction. And one group learned the in-house Yale Emotional Intelligence Program. And of course, there was a control group. And they found that of the 3 groups, that learned a particular technique, the Sky technique was the only one that brought about very significant results in many different parameters: decreased stress, decreased depression, increased mental health markers, increased social connectedness, positive emotions, and mindfulness as well. There's a really nice video that came from some of the students who took part in the study. And if we have time later on, I can play that video. It's about between 5 and 6 minutes long. And if we have time, we'll do that. So that's this video. These are two publications that came out earlier this year in March, one in Nature and one in Science, talking about the fact that burnout is rampant in academia due to the pandemic. And this burnout is especially acute in female academics. So there's a lot of stress all around. Certainly students feel stress, but staff and faculty as well, with all of the pressures that come with managing everything and working from home. There's many different problems. So the benefits of meditation, how there's many different ways to alleviate stress. You can go exercise, you can go for a walk in nature. Those are two of my favorite things to do. But meditation strengthens brain function for many different things. Some of them are listed here, but the problem is many people have a hard time meditating because of that monkey mind that we spoke about, constantly vacillating. Either you're going to think about a to-do list after you meditate. While you meditate, you're going to think of all the things to do, make dinner, go to the grocery store, or you're going to be thinking of things that happened before you meditate. So it's very difficult to calm the mind, and it's really an art that has to be cultivated. However, if you calm the mind before sitting down to meditate with a breathing technique, that can help really bring the mind into the present moment and go deeper in meditation. So the Sky breath technique is really unique because with this cyclical rhythmic breathing, one goes into a meditative state. And in this meditative state, the mind is calm and a lot of stress and anxiety gets released in the period right after you finish this breath work. And so when you finish, it's sort of like taking a shower for the mind. We take a shower every day for the body, but we do very little for the mind. This technique is like a shower for the mind. And then you can, if one has a meditation practice, that can be done after the Sky practice. So it's really key in calming the mind. So that being said, let's learn a breath technique that you can use whenever you want during the day. This breath technique is called straw breath. So I'll teach you how to do that. It's really simple. You can do it at any time. And you can also, if you have kids at home, you can also teach this to kids. It's very effective for kids as well. After we learn this meditation, I'll segue into a guided after we learn this breath work, I'll segue into a guided meditation. So just keep your eyes closed and just listen to the prompts. Okay. So, all right. So this is how straw breath goes. We breathe in through the nose and we breathe out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now, when we breathe out through the mouth, we're going to breathe out as though we breathe out through a straw. So breathe in and breathe out through the straw. Now, before you try this, I want to bring two things to your attention. There are two ways to do the straw breath. One, many people do it as though they are blowing into a balloon to inflate a balloon. So that's you're exhaling with a lot of force. And that's not necessary with straw breath. You don't want to be too gentle, but just enough force that it completely empties the lungs. Okay, so not too forcefully and not too lightly, somewhere in between. So let's try it again. The benefits of this technique is that the exhalation is really long. The inhaling breath energizes and the exhaling breath relaxes. So when the exhalation is really long, that really calms and relaxes the body. That's the key benefit and take home from this breath technique. Another thing, it completely empties the lungs of all breath. So when we breathe in, fill the lungs and breathe in. And when you breathe out, exhale slowly through the straw, completely emptying the lungs. And you'll see the exhale is really long. All right, so let me show you one breath, and then when you're comfortable, you can close the eyes and try it on your own. Okay, so take a deep breath in and breathe out through the straw. So you can continue to do this at your own pace. And we'll do about 10 straw breaths, and then keep your eyes closed and I'll start the guided meditation. Okay, so let's begin at your own pace. Keep the eyes closed, breathe in, exhale, straw breath. If you make a whistling sound, that's okay. Complete the breath that you're on and sit with your eyes closed. If you're wondering what to do with your hands, place your hands on your lap with the palms facing up to the ceiling. So let's sit easily and comfortably. Make sure you're comfortable. So make sure you're seated. Make sure you're in an upright position. The back should be straight, but sit comfortably. Support your back against your chair or a wall. Be comfortable. So let's sit easily and comfortably with the eyes closed. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Let's take another deep breath in and let go. Become aware of the noises around you. People talking, dogs barking, the TV, refrigerator. Accept all the noises. Be in harmony with your environment. Take a deep breath in and let go. Become aware of your physical body. The body is a beautiful gift to us from nature. Honor and respect your body. Become aware of your feet. Become aware of your legs. Become aware of your hips. Your abdomen and stomach. Your chest. Your shoulders. Arms and hands. Your neck. Your face. Your head. Become aware of your whole body. Take a deep breath in and let go. Become aware of your thoughts. Good thoughts, bad thoughts. Be in harmony with your thoughts. Do not resist any thoughts. Let them come. Now you are in harmony with your thoughts. Take a deep breath in and let go. Become aware of your emotions and feelings. You are peace and joy. Become aware of your feelings. Become aware of your thoughts. Become aware of the sensations in your body. Become aware of your environment. Take a deep breath in and let go. Very slowly and gradually, when you feel ready, you may open your eyes. Okay. How do you feel? Do you feel a little more relaxed than before we started? Great. So if you want a deeper experience of this, the course is really wonderful course. So you get a deep experience of this very inner meditative state. And so this is the program that's coming up in September and October. It's 3 hours each day, so 9 hours total, and this is just for staff and faculty. It's going to be on Zoom. It's $75, and wellness points are going up to 5,000 in the upcoming year, school year. And so this course will be 1,800 wellness points. So this course actually changed, this breathwork and program changed the course of my life. I did it 13 years ago, and it was great. I'm a skeptical scientist, and at the time I was a skeptical scientist, and what, the breath relieving stress, I don't believe it, nonsense. And I did this course and I could not believe the release that I've had. It was wonderful. So it's a wonderful way to integrate happiness and well-being through the breath, and also some, very useful points on how to handle the mind. Stuff that we may have heard before, but it's in a really nice context, so it sinks in a little deeper. And there's a daily practice that you come out with that you can practice daily. It's like a shower for the mind every day, as I mentioned. And it helps keep stress at bay, or if you're stressed, it helps to release the stress. It was a really useful tool for me when I went through some rough times in my life several years ago. So, I had to handle several different things at the same time. So this breathwork kept me sane. So it's a really nice tool to have, even if you're not stressed. It's a good tool to have, and it increases happiness. There's no cap on happiness. It increases well-being, a feeling of comfort, and it increases social connection, because the people you do the course with, there's a closeness there. And I lead, so I do this on a volunteer basis. I'm going to teach this course with another teacher, and I lead a breathwork practice every day in the morning on Zoom. So it's voluntary. Whoever wants to come can come. Breathe in a group practice. It's 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. You don't have to have your video on. You can do it in your pajamas. So it increases the sense of connection. So this is, how do you sign up for it? So there's different ways. There will be posts on MyU this week, or so I'm told. If you go to the Wellbeing calendar here, you can click on the calendar, and I'll show you what the calendar looks like in a minute. And these two links at the bottom are direct links if you don't want to go through that. So this is the Wellbeing calendar for September. The September course is posted here. You can see 13th, 14th, 15th. You click on it, and then information about the course comes up. I don't think the October course is posted yet, but I have the links for it. So this is what comes up when you click on it. Information. It's a breathwork, well-being, and resilience training. It's tailored for staff and faculty only at the U of M. It includes a Sky Breathwork and so on and so forth. I'd also like to let you know that we have a Sky Student Club for students, and we teach free. We teach the Sky Campus Happiness program for free for students, and it's funded by the SUA. So it's a great tool for students to have, but it's a little bit disappointing because not many students know about it. So I'm not quite sure how to get the word out, how to let students know about this, because it's completely free of charge. And it's kind of fun when students do it together. They bond as well. And so many students are looking for that, social connection, especially new students coming to a big campus. They don't know how to reach out to other people. This is one of the ways they can do that. Also, President Gable released her initiative for student mental health earlier this year. And I'm looking for ways in which I can get information about this student program, the Sky program for students, to the people concerned with this mental health initiative, so that they know about it and that it can be offered to students if they're interested. Because I'm a firm believer in there's different paths up the mountain. What works for one may not work for someone else. And I think therapy and seeing a counselor is so helpful, but the breath is with you all the time. Your counselor can't be with you all the time. But the breath is. So it's very useful. I'd also love to teach this as a credit course for students or even for faculty, if there's grant funding, as a development workshop, something like that. So there's different ways that it could be taught. So in conclusion, 3 things that you can take away. The state of our mind determines the quality of our life. Change your mind, you improve the quality for the better. And how do you change your mind? The breath is the connection between the body and the mind. It helps regulate emotions and calms the mind. And given the growing mental health crisis and burnout faced by the university community at large, these breathing strategies and techniques can be used as a very useful tool for preventing and alleviating stress. So with that, I will end my presentation, and it's 3:45 on the dot. I'm happy to take any questions if you like, or please feel free to email me. Joan has my information. You can get in touch with her if you can't find me, but I should be, if you go to UMN and search, I should pop up. So please reach out with any questions that you might have. That would be great. And take the course if you can. It's a wonderful course. I've taken it as a participant and really benefited from it hugely. And being on the other side as a teacher, I see the beauty of the course. You know, there's a lightness to it, but there's also a gravitas that's associated with it. So check it out.
Thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I can remind everyone that on the Canvas site, there is a link to Lolita's presentation. So all the links that you saw in her slide presentation will be active links on the Canvas site. So that'll be a good resource for people to use.
Yes, and I apologize. While I was sharing my screen, I couldn't see all the chat messages. So I'm just seeing them now. So I'm so sorry. But yeah, thank you so much for the comments and interactivity. It's wonderful. I just apologize. I didn't see them. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Or if anyone's interested in seeing this Yale video, you know, it's 5 to 6 minutes on their experiences. If that's not pushing into Joan's time or anyone else's time, I'm happy to share. So I can do that. Or another interesting thing that a friend who's faculty dean of a school at Texas A&M University says he does breath breaks for students. You know, so for a 90-minute class at about, you know, he does 2 breath breaks. And so if you've done this program and, you know, there's a couple other requirements, there's a training workshop that staff and faculty can do to teach these breath breaks to their students or to co-workers or out in the community, wherever it's needed, you know. So it's but this course is a prerequisite, and there's a couple other things as well. There's a faculty member from U of M Duluth who did the training, and she's actually doing a little practice workshop tomorrow. And she's introduced breath breaks in her class. So that's really good too. So yeah, please reach out with any questions and let me share the video. Do you see? Okay, but you can see this campus shot?
Yes.
Okay, great. Here we go.
We know that college-age students have a greater prevalence of mental health issues than any other age group. We also know that 60% of students report that they have felt
A lot of students here don't have healthy coping to deal with stress, and then we just kind of like shove it under the rug.
The strategies that I use to manage the pressure points at Yale have varied. Usually I kind of don't manage them, but in general, like last semester, if I was overwhelmed by something, I would just kind of shut down.
We see students come in with so much burnout and stress and a very distracted mind, and that makes academics hard and social life even harder.
Instead of sitting down and doing what I needed to do, whether that be work or sports or going to the gym, I would find myself sort of moping around my room a little bit, becoming extremely distracted with social media.
Stress in my life was like, I would kind of have meltdowns not before a race or a big test because I wouldn't know how to handle it that well.
So that's why we launched this randomized controlled trial with around 200 Yale students. So what we did was have the students go through this 8-week intervention. And right before and right after those 8 weeks, we collected data on their psychological well-being, on measures of stress, anxiety, depression, burnout, life satisfaction, self-compassion, all of the different facets of well-being. We decided to evaluate 3 different empirically validated well-being interventions side by side compared to a control group. An emotional intelligence program, did mindfulness-based stress reduction, and finally we selected the Sky Campus Happiness Program.
So Sky, the Campus Happiness Program, is a comprehensive wellness program that addresses wellness and happiness from many angles, incorporating breath work, yoga, and deep meditation, as well as leadership and service learning, and also positive psychology. The core of the Sky Happiness Program is Sky Meditation.
Quite honestly, I was pretty skeptical going into it.
I've never really done breathing exercises. I didn't know that was a thing that you did with meditation. I just assumed meditation was kind of like sitting in a dark room and like trying not to think about anything.
I never really bought into meditation or yoga as a way to improve my well-being.
And then my thoughts about meditation and mindfulness started to change a little bit until we actually got to the Sky Meditation retreat. I cannot believe still to this day how deep of a meditation I fell into.
But I didn't know how much of it was like your physiology, like how you control like the things inside of you, like with breathing, which I had no idea that you could even do that.
Sky meditation immediately starts releasing stress from the nervous system and has a deep physiological effect.
I felt alive, I felt energized, I felt awake. I remember waking up after that Sky meditation session. I cannot remember a day I was more productive.
Well, when I do the practice, I feel rejuvenated. My head is clear. I know what I have to do that day, and then it feels really good, like I'm full of energy.
Being equipped with the knowledge that I've gained from this class, like the different breathing techniques, has really helped me to de-stress and re-equilibrate myself. Like it's a dome around me. The stresses would come, but they would just bounce off the dome and they aren't as impactful. Like they don't get to me.
I think I like come out of the breathing and the meditation as a happier, like more balanced person, which is something I did not expect at all. I'm just having a much better semester and I feel so much happier and like so much more stable. Like I come back to my suite and my roommates are like, why are you so calm right now? And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, guys, I don't know, I'm just enjoying life.
So I find that students end up practicing often daily because the practice feels so good. Their mental health and well-being feels so boosted.
I wake up and do my Sky meditation routine, and it's really not a difficult program at all. I wake up and I'm ready to go for the day.
Rather than wait until students have mental health issues and then addressing that with therapy, medication, etc., why don't we teach students tools to take care of their well-being ahead of time? Why don't we take a preventative approach? What would it mean if students everywhere were equipped with these techniques and tools so that they can not only do well in school, but also learn to thrive in life?
Okay, so thank you for staying back and watching that. And you know, it's a student testimonial, but it's the same things apply to everybody, you know, to anyone above 21, really. And when things were so crazy last year, you know, when the pandemic started and with the civil unrest after George Floyd, I was sort of compelled to share information about this breathing with others. You know, until then, for the last 13 years, I've been doing it, but I've been very reluctant to tell other people about it. And so I was actually compelled to go through a training program and then for over a year, and then I got certified to teach this in June. So I co-taught my first course in July last month. And I will be teaching again in September and October. And I will be teaching with Annalise Richmond, who you saw in the video. So she had I think the red shirt with the curly hair. So she's the director of Sky Campus, and I'll be teaching with her. So she has over 20 years of teaching experience. So she's an amazing teacher. Well, if you don't have any questions, I think we can end the session, right, Joan?
Well, this was just wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm going to spread the word to the rest of the faculty that they should watch the recording that we've made of this session because it's fabulous. And I love that idea of teaching it to students so they can take having breath breaks during a class. Wow, especially during these difficult times, I would think would really help students a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can't teach the sky breathing to them because it's longer, so that time, but just simple breath techniques, like even the straw breath that one could teach students, just close your eyes because it's so, you can let go, just for a few minutes. And there are so many breathing techniques like that. So yeah, I think it's very nice to be able
And so does the Sky Breathing course teach several different breathing methods?
Pardon me, sorry, Joan, I missed that.
Oh, does the Sky course teach several different breathing techniques?
It does. So the core is the Sky Breathwork, but before that, you will also learn 2 other breathing techniques that are a precursor to the Sky. So they raise the energy in the body. So it's certain breath techniques and hand positions and seated positions, all of that is learned during the course. And then you learn and practice over the 3 days. And by the end of the 3rd day, you have a daily practice that you can take home and practice.
Wonderful. I'm going to sign up in September. I love it.
Yes, wonderful. Yeah, I hope to see you, look forward to it. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity. And thank you to everyone who came to this talk. So it was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Joan. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.